Haven't cast Nerchio in a while, but he was an absolute beast a couple of months ago. Let's see if that's still the case. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this, the Shakuras Plateau. I bring you Nerchio from Team Acer. He's in the red trunks and he is playing Zerg to the southwest of this map versus his opponent from Team Grubby. It's Grubby. He's in the green trunks and he is playing Protoss to the northeast. It should rename its team to Team Grubby, It's Grubby. And then that would confuse the hell out of casters. From Team Grubby, it's Grubby, it's Grubby! Yeah, I just think there's a lot of trolling potential there that Grubby isn't actually exploring. And honestly, I find that offensive. Grubby needs to get it sorted out. Now, Grubby's been pulling off some interesting stuff since he went to Korea. He was playing against Stefano earlier. Unfortunately, he did lose fairly convincingly in a 2-0 fashion, but he did do significant damage in the first game with a rather interesting transition. He went for Void Ray harassment on the third into a 7-gate pressure attack using a lot of sentries in order to block off the reinforcements, enabling him to slice and dice the Zerg force to pieces. It was very, very nice. Unfortunately, he still lost that game because he didn't macro up behind it, and this was kind of weird. I mean, he wasn't building an expansion. He stayed on 2 base forever, and when he finally started his expo, it didn't matter because Stefano had already taken the gold and had rebuilt his dead third, so there's the problem. Spawning pool on 14 supply right there for Nerchio. Nothing unusual there, to be honest. Is anyone expecting anything otherwise against Protoss? Not really. That would be silly. It's going to be a Forge Fast Expand here by Grubby. Not going to go for the Nexus first, which we did see him do against Stefano. I believe it was on Terminus. It did actually work, and he was able to get it up there very, very quickly indeed. Actually, it wasn't Terminus. I think it was Antigua. Yes, it was Antigua Shipyard. He was able to get that going, but it was certainly a risky maneuver. Possibly not the best of ideas. Nerchio trying to deny this area as quickly as he can, as efficiently as he can. I have a feeling that Grubby's going to get that down anyway. A couple of seconds delay, nothing really major. Blocked off right there. Nerchio doing a pretty good job. There we go. All sorted, and will the drone escape? More to the point, probably not. 6 Zerglings coming out right here for Nerchio. Some initial poking going on, I think, here. He can't really do a huge amount with just normal Zerglings, but then again, ooh, was that double extractor trick? Yes, I believe it was. Double extractor trick to punch out an extra queen. Or indeed to just punch out 1 queen, since he did go 6 Zerglings. An interesting move. Now, the thing about this is that if he's able to get a bust here, horrible things will happen. The thing is he can't. The photon cannon's already up. But if he slips in, Grubby will surely try and... Oh, no! Grubby! Oh, it's a run-by! Nerchio's legendary Ling run-bys. He gets 3 in. Actually, 2. Not so great. He can do a little bit of harassment here, but not much. I'd expect that Grubby's micro will win over here. Maybe pick off 1 probe if he's lucky. Double expand right here from Nerchio in the background, as you can see. Will he be able to get anything with these? Oh, nice surround right there. He loses a probe in the process. A good trade for a Zergling. Be nice if he's able to get another one, but it's probably not going to happen. Got his legendary Warcraft 3 micro coming into play here. He does get some interesting scouting information, but knowing that his opponent had Forge Fast Expanded, there's not an awful lot to really expect there, honestly. Ouch. Zergling taking a little bit of tasing action there. Unfortunately, I don't think that Zergling is going to get any kills. Whatever the case, it is being a nuisance, more to the point. Because, hey, why not? In the meantime, we've got Nerchio building up in the background. He is putting a couple of queens into the mix right here. Just wants to bring one over there, make sure there's 1 on each. That Zergling is still alive, if you can actually believe that. Cybernex core, well delayed. To be expected, considering the Forge Fast Expand. Nothing unusual or out of the ordinary in that respect. Zergling is still there. Grubby is curious as to where it's run off to. We'll get a little bit of information on timings and things like that there. Let's keep an eye on things for chrono boosts. Get just little pieces of information here and there. The Zergling is just taking up residence here. He's a little bit of a squatter. I don't think Zerglings get such rights. He'll be evicted any moment. Nerchio on 3 bases right now, looking pretty solid economically. Nerchio is quite an aggressive player. He doesn't tend to drone up in the same way that you see other players like, say, Stefano or Idre. They both like build absurd amounts of drones at any given time. Nerchio just kind of go for the more Jelizerg style of cutting drones quite low and going really aggressive and relying on doing damage. That said, Nerchio is also extremely flexible. It's whenever you say something like that about a player, you also have to understand that they are a pro player, and they are quite flexible in what they do. Twilight Council on the way up for Grubby right now. Interesting stuff. He's only on 1 gateway at the moment. How many gas does he have? That might be the telling factor. Looking for 4, so DT play is a real possibility. There's nothing really else that he can spend that gas in. There's no reason for him to have it unless it was going to be for Dark Templar. He'll throw in a couple more gateways, and then I suspect we will see a DC Shrine come down any moment now. Definitely surprised me if he didn't, but then again, it is Grubby. He has been known to have surprises. He's actually going Blink, never mind. Interestingly, he did mine from all 4 gas. If he was just going to go a Blink with a small number of gateways, it's possible he's going to follow that up with a lot more. In the meantime, we've got a lair on the way up for Nerchio. More Zerglings. Big map control. Nerchio is known for his run-bys. He will look for opportunities to get in and get good scouting information. He will look for opportunities to surround, and he usually does that by having extremely good map control and a lot of map awareness. He does that by having a lot of Zerglings on the field. Right now, he's not really feeling that he needs to do too much, so he's going to get a big round of drones. Lair to follow that up, almost complete now. Spore Crawler going down at the appropriate time for Nerchio, obviously paranoid that there might be DTs, and honestly, I would have expected DTs at this point, but this is an interesting mind game here by Grubby. Then again, you never know as to whether or not there's a DT Shrine hidden somewhere behind all of this nonsense. So Blink Stalkers, when you have no Stalkers. That's an interesting strategy. I don't think I've ever really seen that before. But he is going for 8 gateway pressure on that, so 8 Stalkers will be warped in immediately. The question is where? Nerchio opening up this path, that's smart. That's going to give him the ability, assuming that Grubby uses that attack path in order to blink into Nerchio's main, to surround and attack those Stalkers on the retreat, and perhaps even intercept them in the process. +2 ground weapon upgrade coming in, and Spire on the way up for Nerchio, which is not going to prove to be all that good, considering Grubby's going really heavy into Stalkers. There are still 7 sentries on the field, however. He's had enough gas to actually do that as well. It's going to be a bit of a messy combination for Nerchio, who isn't exactly sitting on a lot of military units at the moment. Heavily upgraded Stalkers and sentries. And this looks to be, well, it's not exactly a timing. He's going to go and attack before this +2 is complete. But the heavily upgraded Stalkers do tend to rip Roaches apart, and those Roaches don't have any attack upgrades. 7 Mutas on the way, and I don't know really what he can do with that. He's going to need a few more. There's a pylon, a quick blink up right there by Grubby, trying to snipe off that Roach. Not going to happen. However, he can hang around, warp in another round of Stalkers here, and apply really big pressure to this 3rd. The army supply count is not in Grubby's favor at the moment, though. That said, a lot of that army supply is soaked into Roaches, so just consider that. +2 on those Stalkers do tend to tear Roaches up pretty well. Well, let's find out how dangerous this army is going to be. There's the big warping. He's still behind Nerchio in terms of army supply, still behind Nerchio in terms of economy. Nerchio's taking his 4th, while Grubby hasn't secured a 3rd yet. This is a problem that we pointed out in Grubby's ZVP against Stefano. He had the same issue, that he went for a really big aggressive push where he cut probes and then just didn't macro at all behind it. In the meantime, we've got Mutas doing some fairly hefty harassment right now. He's going to have to blink in some Stalkers. I was thinking, well, Mutas aren't going to be all that helpful, but he's really going all for it right now, and here we go. Big deployment of force fields right there, catching a few Zerglings off guard, but not a huge amount. A lot of workers killed here by Nerchio. He's already hit 11, and there's not a lot of probes really on Grubby's side of things. He can't really sustain that number of losses, and here comes the charge right now by Nerchio. A very patient bit of play. Stalker blinks all the way around that. Force field's able to block off some of the damage, but not all of it. Grubby backed into a corner right now, surrounded by Roaches from all sides, and in the meantime, these Mutas are still tearing it up in the main. Grubby needs to get plenty more Stalkers out there, and he doesn't quite have enough. Yet more economic harassment being done. Grubby now flanks around and is trying to focus on this hatchery, but I don't think he's got the numbers. Nerchio continuing to stream units in. He's got 10 Zerglings on the field, 26 coming in, and Grubby's most likely going to have to retreat out of this. The sad thing about this is Grubby's achieved absolutely nothing and lost 28 workers to those mutants in the process. Grubby is absolutely gutted in his main. At least Grubby can take out that 4th, not that it was really mining anyway. Oh wow, he doesn't even do that. GG, Nerchio with a power.